You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? Yesterday's vote to expel Representative Luke Simons from the North Dakota legislature. I think it's outrageous. Not because I don't believe all of the accusations against him. I'm sure some of them are credible. Maybe some are not. We'll never know because he did not get the hearing he deserved. There was no due process here. There was no hearing. Witnesses were not called. The women who made these accusations and these allegations were not put on the stand. They were not sworn under oath. They did not get cross examined by anybody. Nobody asked them any questions. How can you expel a member of the North Dakota House of Representatives with nothing to show for it? Nothing. No committee hearings, no general hearings on the floor of the House. Yes, there were some statements made by some people in favor of it, some people against, but that's just argument. That's not a hearing. None of these women were called. Some of them are members of the North Dakota House. And I think they should have had no problem participating in a hearing. You had a lot of people coming down on the side against Representative Simons. Now, one of the people was North Dakota State University's president. What is he doing getting involved in this? Well, he thinks he should be involved because apparently one of the women accusing him is an intern or was an intern and is a student or was a student at North Dakota State University. So what? Get your nose out of this. It's none of your business. You're a college president, you're a university president. Mind your own business. To me, all these people were just piling on. No, I'm not saying that what these women accused him of saying wasn't true. There were some pretty specific details of things they claim he said. Some of the things are very, very odd, very inappropriate, but none of them rise even close to the level, or very few of them do, to what Governor Cuomo is accused of doing, and he's still there, or to what South Dakota Attorney General Jason Ravensborg has been accused of doing. And Ravensborg is still there. In fact, his legislature, as we pointed out on the show, gave him a chance at due process. They said they were going to pull articles of impeachment. They were not going to get rid of him, remove him from office in South Dakota until he had his day in court. Luke Simons wasn't so lucky. He did not get that day in court. He did not even get it in the court of the North Dakota House. Because, yes, there was debate, and yes, there was a vote, but that was it. Now, some of, or at least one of my colleagues here at Beck, Representative Rick Becker, whose show precedes, his show is No Apologies with Becker, precedes our show No Filter with Debbie, he had a lot to say on the matter, and I agree with him absolutely, and I would have been voting along with him against this railroading. This was a railroading. It was unfair, and that's what I hate about this. Not that these things were not credible or that they were not inappropriate, but that there was no hearing, and I just don't know if they rise to the level of expulsion. And before I show you his comments, I just want to give you a couple of examples. Nobody in North Dakota history has ever been expelled from the North Dakota House, ever. This is a first time in history. And we looked back at some of the incidents. In 1919, there was a North Dakota legislator who was accused of accepting bribes to vote. He wasn't expelled. Before that, in the late 1890s, guess what? There was somebody who insulted another member of the North Dakota legislature. All they had to do was apologize. Representative Simons has apologized. I don't know that these things rise to that level. Now, the massage is totally inappropriate. And if he assaulted somebody, then he should have been charged for that. Maybe this was to avoid doing that. I don't know. All I know is we don't really know a lot because we didn't see or hear much about this. They released these papers at the last minute that had all the accusations in them, or much of them. We really didn't get to hear a lot. It's not fair. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to the people of North Dakota. I'm sure there are a lot of people who agree with me. Railroading is bad. All right, so let's look at this first clip from Representative Becker of No Apologies.
There's no middle. I'd be happy to have a middle in there if you want. Tell me what it is. Are you really going to? I gave the list of people that have been expelled. They all have had an independent investigation. Show me one that has not. We expel this member, North Dakota will have done an expulsion on the least amount of process, the least amount of evidence that has ever been done in the United States, to my knowledge, at least certainly in the last 80 to 100 years. So there is no in-between. I respect the majority leader's point. He feels it's not significant enough. I didn't write this. So what do you do when expulsion is too much and censure isn't enough? Say, well, what the heck? We're going to do too much.
So he introduced a resolution to censure Luke Simons instead of expelling him, which I think would have been the proper route. I mean, remember that Marjorie Taylor Greene said things against Jews. She said that people did not die in the Sandy Hook shootings or at the Pentagon in 9/11. She was not expelled from the U.S. House of Representatives. Again, Governor Cuomo still in office. Governor Northam from Virginia, who was in blackface, and we will show you that picture, he was not expelled. He's still there. So Luke Simons gets expelled over accusations. Some of them, yes, very inappropriate, very odd. Don't give massages. Don't touch people. Don't comment about their appearance, because in today's day and age, even though many of these women in 20, 30 years will be begging, working for, looking for compliments, you can't compliment them anymore. Yes, some of it went beyond compliments, but some of it were just, some of these things were innocent compliments and flirtations. I read the 14 pages, and I just think that some of it is much ado about nothing. I could watch The Bachelor and find comments far worse than this. Nobody's taking that horrible show off the air. Yes, I know. That's a TV show. It's not a North Dakota House member. But still, this is railroading. It's not right. All right, now, Representative Becker was right. They should have censured him. He said there's no middle ground between that and expulsion. Here's what else he had to say.
As we've heard, many of the members do not believe due process is applicable here, even procedural due process. Not following our own rules with a 5-member committee, explicitly written and agreed on by people in this body. So now we go to something like this, where we're going to say, well, let's follow the censure. This clearly, what we have is a situation where we're more interested in an outcome than we are in handling it properly. I encourage a red vote. We'll take an up or down on expulsion, and let's see if the representative from District 36 will be the first one from North Dakota to be expelled. Thank you.
He's absolutely right. This is just wrong. All right, when we come back, we will have another video clip, and I will talk more about what Representative Simons' next steps are. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about the railroad job against Representative Luke Simons. Again, for the zillionth time. Yes, the things he said, if he said even a fraction of them, were inappropriate. But some of them were innocent flirting. Some of them he shouldn't have said, but do they rise to the level of it? Let's expel him. The massage, that's inappropriate. I don't know when that happened. But I do believe in the free market. And the free market means that the people who just elected him, have a right to have their chosen representative in the North Dakota House. And before the break, I alluded to what his next steps might be. So his next steps might include challenging this in court. He was speaking of that. We have talked about his legal defense fund that is online, that has raised several $1,000s. He was trying to raise $15,000. He does have an attorney. I don't think if he sues, he's going to get back in. A legislature, whether it's in North Dakota, whether it's the U.S. Congress, they have the right to seat their own members. However, there is a procedure, and they have to abide by that. That's why you saw Rick Becker holding that book up to the cameras, because he was saying that they were not abiding by their procedure. They can vote to not follow the procedure and to just expel him. I don't know if that will stand up in the North Dakota courts. We will see if Luke Simons even challenges it. I think another route is, I don't believe his expulsion, and I could be wrong, I haven't read the whole resolution, but I don't believe that it bars him from ever running for office again. And he could just run again for this seat. Now, they may appoint somebody in the meantime. They have the right to do that. And we went through all of this when Dave Ondal passed away, and he did not get to be in the state house, and the governor tried to appoint his own person. So they can appoint whoever they want. If Luke Simons runs again, he could win and he could be right back where he started. And all of these people might have egg on their face. And then what are they going to do? Well, they'll be watching him very closely, and I'm sure he'll be watching himself very closely if he's allowed to do that per the resolution. And we may have his lawyer on. We're trying to get his lawyer on. I think his name is Lynn Bowie or Bowie, or Bohey. I don't know how to pronounce it, but we are trying to get him on the show. We'll see if we have any luck. I note that the vote is 69 to 25. Like I said, if I were in the North Dakota legislature, I would be with those 25 because I believe in fairness. I believe in due process. I believe in not just believing people just because they say something, even if there's a large group of them and they have details. I believe you put them on the stand, you ask them about it. Not that this needs to be a trial, but at the very least, there should have been a hearing. And he should have had the chance to cross-examine them, put on his evidence, and so on. He didn't get to do that. They didn't do that. That is wrong. The majority of the North Dakota legislature, as we know, the vast majority of the North Dakota House is Republican. It's over 80 representatives. And I note that our friends, the Koppelmans, Speaker of the House Kim Koppelman and Ben Koppelman, who I think are two of the most innovative, along with Rick Becker, members of the North Dakota legislature, they voted on the right side of things, I believe. They voted on the side of fairness. They voted against expelling Representative Simons. But a whole lot of Republicans voted to expel him. Without the Republican majority voting for this, he'd still be there. The Democrats have no power. And you know why the Republicans did this? Because they're really worried about the women's vote. Oh no, Trump was anti-women, which is not true, but that's the conventional wisdom. Republicans are anti-women. Again, not true. The Republicans are the most pro-women party. Why? Because they believe in free enterprise. They believe in the free market. They believe that the only limits to your own prospects, whether in a job or anything else, should be your own God-given talents. Those limits, that's it. And Democrats are the ones that oppress women and don't let them put their talents up for bid on the free market for jobs. They believe in artificial things like $15 minimum wages, like all kinds of constraints on women getting good jobs and getting the experience they need. So the Republicans in the North Dakota legislature are worried about women. They're worried about the liberal media and the conventional wisdom, that they will look backwards, that they will look like they are chauvinists if they didn't vote for this. That's why they did this. You don't see the Democrats, again, in New York with Governor Cuomo or in Virginia with Governor Ralph Blackface Northam. Do we have that picture of him in blackface? They don't believe in worrying about that. Oh, that's not him. That's somebody there he is. So you can see on the right, he is in blackface. That is his medical school yearbook. Ralph Scherer Northam. And he's still governor. He says that's not him. That's him with the blackface next to the Klansman. All right? He got away with it. He's still governor. The Republicans try to appease the conventional wisdom, the liberal media, the people who will never vote for them. And that's what this was about. The Republicans could have done the right thing and said, look, we don't agree. And by the way, not all Republicans, but the Republican leadership in the North Dakota Republican Party and some of the leadership in the House. Again, not Representative Kim Koppelman, who's the speaker. He voted against this. But the Republican conventional leadership, the establishment, they did this for PR reasons. You know what? PR reasons are not always the right reasons, and this is Exhibit A. Stop worrying about what other people think. Do the right thing. They didn't do that here. All right, so he says he will sue. We will see if he actually does that. That's going to be a very costly undertaking. And let's look at Governor Cuomo. So remember, Governor Cuomo put his hands on a woman, and there are pictures. There are no pictures of Luke Simons doing anything that he's accused of doing. Governor Cuomo has admitted to some of these things. One of the women has given a primetime interview with CBS News. She said it was very clear that he wanted to have sex with her. I don't see any interviews like that with anybody from North Dakota against Luke Simons. So remember that Governor Cuomo was being praised for what he did with COVID. Anthony Fauci was praising him. They were like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino from The Godfather. And remember, this guy was being talked about to be president. They wanted him to run so that Joe Biden would not be the nominee. They didn't think Joe Biden could beat Trump, and maybe he didn't. We'll never know. But look at this video. It all seems kind of funny now.
David, we're standing by for Governor Cuomo's press conference, his daily briefing. How would you contrast Cuomo and President Trump's handling of the crisis?
Truth versus mendacity.
Governor Cuomo out there day after day after day, everything Trump isn't. Honest, direct, brave.
Real leadership of the kind the President of the United States should have provided.
Governor Cuomo is clearly living in a totally different reality, the actual one, than the President of the United States.
Governor Cuomo has become a national leader.
For a lot of people, Andrew Cuomo has become the leader of the Democratic Party.
He is conveying incredible strength.
You spoke to National Guard troops today in a stirring speech that, if I wasn't listening carefully, I thought you were sending soldiers off to war.
This has been a remarkable show of leadership by Governor Cuomo in recent days. He's providing hope, but not false hope.
Governor Cuomo, I think, is one of the heroes on the front lines.
With all of this adulation that you're getting for doing your job, are you thinking about running for president?
Andrew Cuomo, who has a daily television show now and has become in some ways the shadow president.
Maybe Trump is just a little bit mad that Governor Cuomo has become a kind of acting president.
Dealing with hardship actually makes you stronger. That's what Governor Cuomo said earlier today. That's what I'm going to go teach my kids right now at home.
Ugh. Ugh. These people are so over the top in their race to be the deepest butt kisser of Cuomo. And it all is ridiculous right now, given everything we know. These people didn't know anything about him, and some people actually did know, we're now finding out, but they covered it up. And now we know that they also covered up the numbers of the people that they sent to their deaths in nursing homes. They committed fraud. All right, so that's Cuomo. Now I want to leave you, before we go to the break, with one other clip of the North Dakota legislature debating Luke Simons. So this is Representative Dan Ruby. Look at this.
We were told earlier in the first half of this discussion that the actions of the representative are in conflict with the rules of this body. So is this proceeding. We're absolutely violating it. We heard there was enough to justify an investigation, but there wasn't an investigation. But there was enough to justify it, apparently.
He's exactly right. There was no investigation. They didn't follow the procedure. And apparently Cuomo didn't follow his state's procedures with regard to people in nursing homes. And you know what? Representative Ruby's on the right side. These people in the North Dakota legislature, they're almost on the same side as those siding with Cuomo, the ones that voted to expel Representative Simons. It's not fair. It's not right. Remember them when it's time for election in 2 years, because if you were in his shoes, wouldn't you want a fair shake? I know I would. All right, when we come back, more political correctness and absolute proof that Michelle Obama is a racist. And upcoming, we've got our No Filter movie reviews. It's Friday. And that and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's best contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car! How will we? The car! Your offer has been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing. But how will we? The closing!
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So a few days ago, we told you what you now have seen all over the media, and that is that Dr. Seuss's estate, the late Theodore Geisel, has pulled 6 books. By the way, they're the 6 books that barely sell any copies off the shelves. They're not going to publish them anymore because they have racist images, allegedly. They have African men in skirts. They have Chinese men in slanted hats with slanted eyes, and so on. And listen, if you're going to look at anything through a 2021 lens, everything's going to be racist. Everything. I mean, when I was a kid, my parents knew. My dad told me that Dr. Seuss Theodore Geisel had some anti-Semitic cartoons back in his career, but we didn't care. My parents didn't care. They thought those books were really good, and they were good. They thought that those were good at teaching us how to read. The pictures, the colors, they're very attractive, appealing, and engrossing to children. And listen, these are things you can learn from. You don't teach anything by erasing things you find offensive. That's what snowflakes do. That's what people who are triggered by every little tiny paper cut do. It's not what people who are strong in their beliefs, who are well-centered, do. It just isn't. This is what insecure people do. It's not good for America. And by the way, I have absolute proof now that Michelle Obama, our former First Lady, is a racist. Look at this picture. All right, so there's the picture. And guess what? We've got video. And she even says that Barack Obama's racist. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm excited too. You know who saw this book this morning before he got on a helicopter? The president. We love Dr. Seuss in our house.
See? They're racist, all right? They should be banned too because how dare they? They read Dr. Seuss books and it wasn't that long ago. Shouldn't they have known better? I mean, aren't they the wokest couple in America? Aren't they Wokey McWokovich? I mean, I thought they were. All right? They're racist too. My, how things change so quickly and how hypocritical everybody is, especially on the left. Especially on the left. They are the kings and queens of hypocrisy. They just are. Everything is offensive to them, even the things they themselves have done and won't admit to. They don't like it when you have the receipts, like that video. Now, you know who's not banning Dr. Seuss books? The Minot Library. And kudos to the librarians of Minot and their public library. They're not removing any of those books from the shelves. But maybe they should put some security mechanisms around those books because they're very, very valuable. In fact, the 6 books that they banned, that they're no longer going to publish, they shot up in popularity and price on both Amazon.com and also on eBay. And also any other of the forums where you can buy books. That's what happens when you ban books. That's what happens when you create a limited supply of something. First of all, you create demand, artificial demand. And secondly, you make those books valuable. It's kind of like when a parent says, don't date this guy, he's bad for you, to the daughter. You know what that does? That pushes the daughter to date the guy. The daughter likes to rebel. If the parent says, oh, I don't mind this guy, yeah, I really like him, you should date him, she'll dump him in a second. Same thing goes for these books that they have now decided are racist. All right, so there's that. Now, there is a book that is not selling very well, but which the Seuss estate is still publishing. And this just goes to show their priorities and the hypocrisy of the left about what's really good and bad for America. And that book is called The Butter Battle Book. We have a picture of the cover. All right, so The Butter Battle Book, what is this about? Dr. Seuss, Theodore Geisel, wrote this book at the time that President Ronald Reagan was president and was fighting the then Soviet Empire, the communist, totalitarian, dictatorial Soviet Union, where there were no human rights, where people were dying, literally dying for freedom, dying to get out, dying to live their own lives the way they saw fit instead of the way the state dictated to them, dying to have actual supermarkets with food instead of waiting in bread lines, dying in gulags and political prison camps for daring to speak out, dying for human rights. Dr. Seuss, a.k.a. Theodore Geisel, was a leftist. Yes, he was from this same woke crowd that is now saying he's not woke enough. And he wrote that book, the Butter Battle book that we just showed you, to attack Ronald Reagan and those of you and myself who believe in human rights and were against communist totalitarianism. We were the bad guys in the Butter Battle book. But that book has the right villains and the right heroes. The communists are the heroes. You and I, who want freedom, people of North Dakota who want freedom from masks and mandates, you're the villains. We're the villains. So that book is still woke, and Dr. Seuss' book and that estate can still publish it because that's still the bomb. Now, I'll show you what else can still be published. This is from the Babylon Bee. Check this out. Now, the Babylon Bee, yes, I know, it's a parody site, and what they're saying is a joke. It's not true, but I'm actually kind of surprised because I don't think this is going to be a joke very soon. In the new Dr. Seuss book, Cat in the Hat gives puberty blockers while their mother isn't home, and then there's this cartoon. So we know that we now have we may have an assistant secretary of health, Dr. Rachel/Richard Levine, who believes in puberty blockers for children. She/he believes in sex changes, gender reassignment surgery for kids as young as 3 to 6 years old. Yes, that is going to be a Dr. Seuss book. There are already books on the market. I saw them pimped on The View. to teach kids that this is normal. So the Babylon Bee is joking, but those are the kinds of kids' books that are coming out now. It's not a joke. Sadly, the joke is on us, America. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the Washington Redskins and how I was the first one. I was the first one to say that they were going to do this. You are going to see the end of all female cheerleading squads throughout pro sports. And we'll talk about that and movie reviews after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Howdy, folks. It's a Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the game. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So I'm sure you heard the news that the Washington football team, which probably should be called the Washington Team Football because of the initials, is getting rid of its all-female cheerleading squad. They're going to replace it with some athletic co-ed dance team. Does anybody really want to see a co-ed dance team? No. People love the NFL cheerleaders. Why? Because men want to date them, euphemism, and women want to be them. Nobody wants to see a co-ed dance team. Nobody. They might as well just get rid of it and have magic tricks or shoot t-shirts out of a cannon. That's more popular. Nobody wants to see this. But this is the beginning of the end. Now, the reason the Redskins did this was because they have come under fire for all kinds of sexual harassment allegations. There are even allegations that the team owner, Dan Snyder, assaulted some of the cheerleaders and pimped them out on donors. I mean, this is very disgusting, salacious stuff, if true. But regardless, does that mean you fire cheerleaders? Was it their fault that you treated them this way? Does this mean that you engage in political correctness? That's what this is. This is political correctness to make up for the liberal team owner, the wealthy liberal team owner, Dan Snyder's behavior. Because his behavior isn't so woke. So because he's not so woke, they have to make up for it by being woke and preaching wokeness to the rest of you. Nobody wants to see it. Now, I predicted this years ago. How? Well, in 2003, so I'm dating myself. This is 18 years ago almost. 2003, I was making the rounds on national TV, and I was on Crossfire on CNN, on which I'd been several times, but I was on against Gloria Allred, the feminist attorney, and she was talking about all these things she did and how she wants to sue for, at that time, Augusta National did not have the golf club that hosts the Masters, did not have any female members. She wanted to sue them. She believed that they should be forced to have female members. They were a private club. They did not need to have female members. This is not the ultimate female civil right. It costs tens of thousands of dollars to belong to Augusta National. I think at this point, it's over $100,000. It's very expensive. Most women can't belong there. They could never afford it. It's just smoke and mirrors. It's just virtue signaling. So Gloria Allred told me how she sued so that men could get into some all-women's health club. And I said, wow, what a great service to America, Gloria. Why don't you also sue so that women can be Chippendales dancers and men can be Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders? Well, the gods of irony heard me talking, and apparently they took my sarcastic non-wish seriously. And now the Washington Redskins, the former Washington Redskins, the Washington football team is doing this. But soon, I guarantee you, this is going to be the result for all pro sports. It's going to be pervasive throughout the NFL. We've already seen some NBA teams do this. Goodbye to cheerleaders. Now, yes, some of them dress very skimpily, but come on. That's the day. That's what we see today in today's day and age. You're going to see a lot less on women on the internet. It's over. There are no childhoods anymore. There's no modesty. Just forget that. Unfortunately, there is none of that. I'm for modesty. You're never going to see that again. But we're going to see dance teams. And this is not about modesty. This is not about let's do the right thing. This is about let's be woke. All right, so I want to show you, we've got a video and we've got a tweet. Let's look at the video first.
What we can expect to see, it's going to be exciting. I'm bringing the NBA flavor to the NFL. So the choreography is going to be hard-hitting hip-hop choreography coupled with true athleticism. So you'll see acrobatics. You'll see the teams using props, whether it's flags or anything that's big and visual. I plan on bringing to the field. Again, all-inclusive. So it will be a co-ed team. And so that's what I'm bringing: fashion-forward costuming, trend-setting costuming. So it will definitely be a different vibe this season.
All right, so that is the woman that has been tasked with this new co-ed dance team. Do you want to see all-inclusive costuming? Do you want to see high fashion? This is a football team. This is an NFL team. Do you want to see all-inclusive dancing? Do you want to see the latest in big visual props? That's what she's talking about. Nobody wants to see any of this. Nobody. She said she's bringing the NBA flavor to the NFL. Guess what? If we wanted to see the NBA flavor in the NFL, guess what we would watch? The NBA. We already have the NFL. We already have the NBA. We don't need to mix the two of them. You don't need to bring NBA flavor to the NFL. Nobody cares about those co-ed dance teams in the NBA. Nobody watches them. So this is the future. I want to show you this tweet. This is from the woman that used to be the head of the cheerleaders. She says, there is literally nothing different about this vibe that she explained that we haven't already been doing. We tumble at each touchdown, flip each other during pregame, already have dozens of costumes, already are very arguably the most diverse race and gender-wise. I don't know, did they have men in the Washington Redskins cheerleaders already? I don't know. Did they have trans? I don't know. All I know is this all-inclusive, woke, trans, nobody feels left out trend. It's destroying America. It's destroying pop culture. It's destroying culture. And it is destroying everything else. This is an attack on merit. It's an attack on achievement. And it's an attack on the free market because guess what? The free market does not want to see this. All right, when we come back, we will do our No Filter movie reviews. It's Friday, time for movies. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. It's Friday. It's time for movie reviews. I see the movies that are coming out today, so you don't have to. And trust me, I sit through a lot of garbage to save you money and time you'll never get back. And speaking of that, the biggest new release this week is actually not in theaters. It's on Amazon Prime, and it is coming to the number 2, America. This is the sequel, long awaited over many decades, to the original Coming to America, and unfortunately, it's absolutely horrible. I sat through this. This movie is garbage. They take what was a charming movie, they insert a stupid storyline, which is that he finds out he has an illegitimate child with two words that make me run away from any movie I ever see or any project. Leslie Jones. Yes, he had an illegitimate kid with Leslie Jones, and that kid is now his heir, is going to be the future king of Zamunda. But before that, his father, the king of Zamunda, wants to have a living funeral where you have appearances by En Vogue, Salt and Pepper, and Gladys Knight, and Morgan Freeman. When you have stuff like that, it's a gimmick because it's a terrible movie. And this is. There are tons of raunchy jokes, which I'm not a prude. I'm not against raunchy jokes, but they're not funny, and they hit with a thud, and they took a wholesome movie and just made it into crap. And yes, they do have the two barbershop scenes. They have two scenes at the barbershop where Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall play the same characters. One's an old Jewish man, another's an old black man, and then you've got the old black barber and some others. It's not even charming. It's not even entertaining because even they tell these gross jokes that are stupid. It's not funny. This movie is horrible. It's a skip-worthy movie. 3 Marxes plus 2 Obamas. I warned you. I know you're going to watch it anyway, but I warned you. All right, then there is The Surrogate. Now, I really like this movie. This is streaming. It's a very thought-provoking movie. It's about a black woman who, and race comes up in the movie, and that's why I bring up her race. She decides to be a surrogate mother for her 2 best friends that are an interracial gay couple. The reason I like this movie is it shows how hypocritical woke people are. This is the wokest couple. Her parents are the wokest black parents. They're very wealthy. They went to all the right schools, the Ivy League. She gets pregnant with this kid for this woke couple, and then they find out that the kid is probably going to have Down syndrome, and suddenly they and her parents want her to have an abortion. She wants to keep this child. It's her child. Every life has value. And as a person who's pro-life, I really appreciated this movie. I think it's a very deep movie, just very well done. None of the actors are very well known, and it's streaming. I did not like the ending. I think she makes the wrong choice, but it's worth seeing the whole movie regardless because of the things she says, the questions that are raised. Every life has value. I gave this movie 3 Reagans. 3 Reagans. Very thought-provoking. All right, now, the next new movie, Boogie, is in theaters and also streaming online. It is about a Chinese-American basketball player in the hood in New York. His parents are immigrants. They want him to be successful and make lots of money. And it's about how he's trying to hustle a college scholarship and his rivalries and his girlfriend and his romance. This was not for me. It's just a little bit too woke for me. He disrespects his parents. He's kind of not really likable. And I just didn't really find it entertaining. So I gave it half a marks. That's Boogie. Then there is Pixie. Pixie takes place in Ireland. And you know, in Ireland, they don't have enough Irish actors that can play priests. So they had to go to Alec Baldwin from New York to have a bad Irish accent and play a priest, but he's in a minor role. It's about these 2 kids who find drugs and how they get intertwined with a mafia person's daughter, and they try to sell the drugs and how they get conned, and they're wanted. Everyone wants to kill them. Drugs are a bad thing. I think that's kind of the message of the movie. I didn't find this all that entertaining. It wasn't for me. Again, it's raunchy jokes that don't go anywhere. Just a lot of gratuitous scenes that I didn't go for. This movie ain't for me. Pixie, I gave it 2.5 markses. All right, next there is Truffle Hunters. I actually enjoyed this movie a little bit. It wasn't that entertaining. There isn't really a plot to it, but it is a feature film about truffles. Truffle and truffle hunters. Truffles, as you may know, are the very expensive, valuable mushrooms that are found mostly in the forests of Italy. This is a mostly Italian movie with subtitles, but it's about the profession of truffle hunting and the buying of truffles and their value and the marketplace and the restaurants that serve them. I found it somewhat interesting, but not interesting enough. Truffle Hunters, I gave it 1 Reagan. And finally, the last movie this weekend. By the way, there is a movie called Raya and the Dragon Hunters. I didn't get to watch that. We will review it next week. I only have so much time for movies. But Chaos Walking is the last movie this weekend. And I didn't go for this movie. Basically, it's set 50 years into the future. And all the women have been killed, except for one who crash lands from space. And the men, all of their thoughts are heard in public. They can't keep their thoughts quiet. It's noisy. They keep being told, control your noise, control your noise. Everybody can hear what they're saying. And one of the men tries to rescue the woman, played by Daisy Ridley. There really wasn't much of a plot. It's just gimmicky. This movie wasn't for me. And it was so boring, I fell asleep repeatedly, which is why I gave it half a marks plus 3 notos. And remember, things are not always as they seem. See you next week.